Thank you for tuning in to My Why podcast today. This is the podcast where we fuel passions, share journeys, and inspire dreams. Today's guest is very special. He is a true visionary for the culture. He is the founder and creative director of Ile Olomu, an award-winning and distinguished fragrance house that brings the roots and the spirit of West Africa to the world. But that's not all. He's also a talented Nigerian-American artist and producer, constantly redefining what it means to merge art, identity, and innovation. He's a trailblazer, always pushing the status quo, standing in the forefront of creativity and business, and inspiring others to think beyond the boundaries. Please welcome Bawo Ijirgho to the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's okay. We'll get the last name figured out. I was ready
I
for that.
tried. We've done it forever, and I tried so hard. So yes, but it's
So
all love.
exactly, and she's known me for years, y'all. So it's not easy.
Yes, it's not easy, but we got you, and I got you here, so I'm excited. All
Thank
right,
you.
so we're gonna go ahead and jump right in because I was thinking, I was like, dang, what are we gonna start with this podcast? Because,
Right.
but I wanted to start with, like, I'm so excited to hear about your new fragrance house and brand. And as me, I'm a fragrance girly, so I totally, I totally understand the vibes and
Yeah.
definitely will support. So, like, that is a major undertaking, though.
Hmm.
And I heard that you were inspired by the Nigerian drink Milo, and
Yes.
and so that seems like like I was like, that's such an interesting inspiration. But how did you go from that inspiration and to bringing it to life where it's at now?
So yeah, that's a great question. And for me, it started with just getting like super involved in fragrance as a consumer myself, just buying perfumes and getting into niche perfume. And the more I got into niche perfume, just as from a buyer's perspective, they would like at this perfume store called Scent Bar, they would always say, "Oh, this is inspired by, bananas, or this is inspired by this." And I started to see how in fragrance, there was this category called gourmand, which is all about food and things that smell like cherries,
Yeah.
or like Kay Ali has a huge brand, and a lot of her scents are gourmand, apple, pistachio, things like that. So as I learned about that concept, I just started to think about my own fragrance and what was nostalgic to me in my own, upbringing, and trying to find something that like related to my story. And I started to think about the Milo chocolate, and I started to think about plantains, and I started to think about ginger and just these different things that I grew up with, and how could I get that in fragrance? And I started taking a class, on learning like perfume making, and that was like the start of, okay, this is how I can translate that into fragrance. And then eventually, I collaborated with my partner that I work with now in Switzerland, Andreas Wilhelm, and he was who I worked with to really help me bring it to life,
Wow.
and to be more of my more experienced perfumer on board, because though I was still learning the craft of perfume making, I knew that in order to do it right, one, and to do it within the timeline with which I was trying to do it, I was going to need, to collaborate. And that was a beautiful thing because it opened up a great partnership with him, and I gave me the
Yeah.
opportunity to go like and mentor under him in Zurich and in the lab actually, and really get
Wow.
to learn from a actual perfumer with the chemist lab on, and
Yeah.
and yeah, like this is like real science and
You're
stuff,
hands on. Yeah, you're hands on too.
yeah, I'm
It's
very hands-on. And that was what was big for me, being a creator. Like I wanted to be hands-on. I mean, I wanted to be the sole perfumer, but I had to take my ego out of it and know that, it's about just trying to tell the story,
mhm.
and if collaborating would help me do that, then cool. Let's do that and give
Yeah.
people a quality product, most importantly, and yeah,
Yeah.
now we're here with the launch coming. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is absolutely it is, but it's because I think what I think about is like the ideas of building relationships, right?
Yeah,
Like with
yeah.
because it's like what you mentioned is like having to get your ego out of it. Like, what was that process for you of like really having to like sit down and be like, look, if I want to get this is what I'm going to have to do, or get in this certain mindset for this particular venture.
It really came as I was starting to grow it and as I'm, going around other perfumers in the industry and I hear other founders like I'm the perfumer of my brand and I see the prestige they're wearing it with and and I wanted to come like that. And I also have a respect for the craft in the industry. So I
Mm,
didn't want to approach it from somebody that's just trying to, I don't know, like fake the funk. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
was the initial ego and feeling like, am I faking the funk if I'm not the direct perfumer? No, that's not, and I learned more. That's not how it works in the world of perfumery. So many brands we love, most of the people that's
yeah.
name is on it, they're not the perfumer.
Right, right.
Yeah, so they're the storyteller, the one with the creative direction. So I was able to take it away at that moment and realize that, okay, let me really start to reach out. And even that was a process, finding someone to help. That was
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Um,
So like going from idea to execution is what we just talked about, right? And I know you to always be a person, a man of execution. Like
Thank
you're,
you. Yeah.
yeah, like you do what you say you're gonna do, and it could be your Nigerian blood. It's probably that in there too. So like, how do you continue to execute on the level that you do? Like, regardless of regardless of what's maybe going on around you, but it's like when you say you want to do something, you go and do it. And a lot of people don't ever make that step. They
Mm,
just the dream in their head, and it's like, oh, they feel like it's so impossible. But how do you
mm.
continue to do that?
That's a great question, and just for the people listening, this is something that's within all of us. It's not, that was a funny joke, but it's just really being able to honor yourself once you've made a promise to yourself with something and trying your best to hold on to what you told yourself you would do. And life is gonna happen. Life isn't perfect. Bills, relationships are gonna fall and grow, and whatever's gonna happen to you, but you try to continue to stay true to what you told yourself. Writing it down is helpful because now I have something physical I'm looking at. I know that's very basic, but that is a good help. And finding inspiration in other founders' stories and other creators' stories, things like this podcast. I'm a huge podcast book reader on other people's stories. I love the one on NPR called How I Built This because that's
Oh,
founders talking about, you feel me? So
hmm,
when I'm in a rut and I'm like, dang, I'm going through this roadblock, it's just me. I listen to somebody's story and it's like, I had to overcome this, and I had this much debt. And now I'm like,
yeah,
wow, okay. And those things help me continue to push through and really just wanting to prove it to myself, having a spirit of proving to myself. I think that's a
mhm,
big thing that allows me to continue to execute however tough it gets. Is like I got to prove myself wrong. And, maybe it's a little unhealthy, but creating mental adversaries in my mind sometimes, like, oh, this person
mhm.
doesn't want to see me get it done. I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna prove this person wrong
Yeah.
and just like operating from that type of standpoint.
So what is something like you said, like sometimes there's difficulty and when you're trying to execute, like what is something that you've maybe experienced that you were able to just overcome, even though, like I said, it was made it may have been difficult in the moment, just from your just all obviously you have different branches of your career and your life right now,
Sure.
but just
Yeah.
maybe something you can think of that.
The one that comes to my mind is when I started Elay, when I was getting it off the ground and realizing I want to collaborate with a perfumer. There was somebody that lives in my building where I stay, and they were a perfumer that was a part of the industry, the community here in LA. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is my person, yeah. And hit them up, sent a DM, and they were so standoffish, so like this to me that I was almost discouraged. Like,
Yeah.
dang. I thought this was going to be an industry of like people that are artsy and creative and collaborative, but I'm getting what
Hmm.
I get in music and entertainment, which is like
Yeah.
styling on me. I'm like, dang, I can play that game too, but hey, I'm a newbie. I'm not here to be egotistical. All
Right.
right, cool. And that moment was like, am I gonna not do it now because I was at a crossroads like dang maybe I'm doing the most, maybe I just stick to doing this music thing, maybe I approached it wrong. And but that allowed me to reach out to Andreas and just to let my heart out to him. I don't have X amount of dollars, I don't have this to start. Simone, if I tell you, listeners, if I tell y'all how this started, this is God's hand. I didn't
Hmm.
have money, I didn't have the experience. I was trying to offer him equity in the company. He said, Bao, I don't need all of that. I'll
Yeah.
help you make your own. I'll help you. And that was the green light that I said, okay, now I'm going to take a leap of faith, book a
Right.
flight to Switzerland. He didn't even say you could come yet.
Right.
I was just like, you're going to help me? All right.
I'll be
Oh,
there in
I'll
like
be there. I'll be there. And
wow.
that's how I approached him. I was like, hey, I actually just
Wow.
booked a flight. Like, I'm thinking about coming this time. Would that be feasible for you? Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And that was it. But I had barriers, and that was, do I overcome? Do I not do it? And
Yeah.
thank God.
Yeah. And then also just the fact that you would it's really just taking that step because that's a step to get on that plane and hope
That's
that
a
the
step
person
two.
you spoke to was is who that
Uh,
there was a very big assumption there. There's just like
that's
this
true.
might work out, but like it's like but this is gonna work out, so I'm gonna get on this plane anyway. You there has to been something in you that was a spark that kind of was just like go, like that nudge. You know what I mean? You
It
know.
was, yeah,
Go
yeah. You
go
just
ahead.
make me want to. Yeah, it was when I piece together the identity for this fragrance house because doing with perfume it was like what am I gonna make, what's it gonna smell like my
Yeah.
first perfume sample I called it Netflix and chill. Okay, cool, like it's supposed to be something sexy romantic but it was no
Yeah.
like identity formed, right? And once
Yeah.
I realized, oh, I've been doing Afrobeat music, I'm doing more of my culture in music, let me put my culture in this. And once I found that, it was like, oh, now I have identity, now I have the Milo came, then plantain. Oh, and when I talked to Andres, he was also excited. So having
Yeah.
a professional perfumer excited about the brand idea was like, this looks like this might be something. And that's where the
Yeah.
leap of faith came from. Was
Because
like, I
you're
just got to
carving
jump.
in your own lane. Like I said, somebody like I pay attention to persons like I've never heard any how close that your story and the roots and your inspiration is to your line. I'm like, that's oh, you got something with that. There's
Thank
so many
you. Thank you,
avenues you
Simone.
can do with that, and like so it's like. And then also, like you talk about how the nostalgia, like how you were able to think of like the different elements, and scent and music is scientifically tied to memory, right? And a lot of
Yes.
times, like with your background with touching both, like what is your hope people take away from your experience as a creative? Because people have experienced you in different avenues. So, like, what is
Yeah.
your and then you're part of creating memories for people in both
Wow.
avenues now.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So spot on because that was the connection I found when I jumped into perfume making that also excited me. It allowing it not to feel so foreign from music. I realized in music you play a bass note, in
Mm-hmm.
perfumery you have to make a bass note. Then you have
Mm-hmm.
to, so I started to find those synergies and so I think, I want people to experience my culture from me, my story and who I am, whether it's my music through fragrance. I want you to get a sense of who I am. My memories as well, my culture, and and a piece of my story. I want you to take away a piece of my story from whatever avenue you experience me. And I
Yeah.
think that's where what excited me with fragrance was that I could do that.
Yeah, and I said in my mind, I'm laughing because I still till this day, and like I said, everybody knows we've known each other forever,
Yeah.
and I will never forget. We came over to your house, and this was one of the early days, and your mom made that jollof rice, and I still chase that jollof rice. Till this day, I've been chasing her jollof rice because I've never met anybody match. I will never forget because that was my first experience with jollof rice, and I will never forget that. It was such a pleasant experience. And until like I said, I lived in the DMV. I live in Atlanta now, but I
Yep,
lived in
yep, yep,
the
yep.
DMV and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, it's been well over 15 years or so. I've been chasing that July high that your mother made.
Wow. Yeah,
Because
wow.
I always wanted to tell you that because I always thinking of that like often. I'm like, I've still never found anybody's jollof that made me feel because there was a feeling to it. You know what I mean? There was a feeling.
Mm.
It's like no, she. This is probably the same way that you're combining your identity now with a lot of the everything that you do. There's a feeling that comes along
Mm.
with it that
Mm.
because once you experience it, somebody else experience it, they're just like, oh. Yes, like, you
Yes.
know what I mean? Like you can really feel that, and that made me think. Like I said, it made me think of your mom
That's
a
a great
lot.
way to put that together. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's like I always. So that's why I'm like, this is such a great. Like even when you know,
Thank you so
we're
much.
we're getting to like the more the artist side, right? So I did notice that there was more of a shift with you doing more of your Nigerian Afrobeat music, right? And
Yeah.
you've been in the game for well over a decade and stuff now, and you've seen the changes with the music business, and
Right.
constantly things that are in and out. What advice would you give somebody coming up, trying to come up in this business at the current state that it's in, and what are your overall thoughts of the current state of the music business, like based off from when you first moved to LA and really got engulfed into it to like where you are
Yeah.
now you
That's a
know
great question. So, the first part of that question to answer, I would say authenticity is so important, and doing whatever is authentic to you, whatever culture you have, whatever heritage you have, whatever skin you're in. There's no more, I'm too this, I'm not enough of this. We've seen so many
Yeah.
examples of people who are comfortable in their skin and are winning, culturally. Whatever it is, whatever
Yeah.
your identity is, this is the time to wear it because people are more accepting, people are, so wear whatever it is with pride. If you look at Scarlett the rapper, she has a scar on her lip, right? She owns that, and that's part of her identity in the story. Wear that. Bad Bunny doing the Super Bowl speaking Spanish, wear your thing, don't be shook, because that's what's going to allow you to break through. And realizing that you don't necessarily need a label to get started, and you have all the resources around you, utilize them, collaborate with people. Don't be too thirsty. I don't know. I feel like I need to say that, but I just think I want to say that. Don't be so overly eager to commit to anything or anyone. Take your time. Know that it's a marathon.
Do you
Believe
think
in.
that I think that's kind of dangerous too? When people can smell that blood, they're smelling the blood, and
Yes, Simone.
there's some sharks out there.
Definitely. And that's where I see a lot of people get taken advantage of. And I'm a huge component, an advocate for talent.
Yeah,
I have young producers that I've signed, we'll talk about my career now.
yeah,
That's where it's taken me from being the talent to now becoming a more of a mentor. And okay, let me help you get an attorney. Let me help you do these contracts. Let me help you negotiate better. And because
yeah,
once they smell that blood, people are ready to take advantage of you and do you
yeah.
bad. So, just really take your time. Don't be too eager, but really know that it's going to take time. It's going to take investment. It might take some money. And the big thing that I've seen change is the it's more of a like a metrics game. It's more of a data game, and I see that's what a lot of the label people are doing. How they're scouting talent now is through data as opposed to hands-on grassroots, and that can be tricky because, as we know in the digital space, you can
It's like
manipulate
you talking about like the TikTok type of
TikTok numbers, Spotify numbers, Apple Music
Okay,
numbers, YouTube numbers,
okay,
Instagram. All of that combined is like what they are analyzing, who they're going to
okay,
sign and invest into.
okay.
And that can be tricky because you can manipulate that,
Mhm.
but they do have ways to see through it. There's all types of like, if it's not converting here, if it's not converting here.
Yeah,
So I would say the way the labels are doing business is different. So just it leads to what I've said, authenticity, lean in all that. They're signing more things that are just more authentic, they're looking for more, you know, Afrobeat stuff, and even that slowed down a bit. But I saw this wave of culture becoming currency again,
yeah.
and for people to really lean in on whatever culture they have. If you're from the South, if you're from the West Coast,
It's
yeah.
almost like they're kind of going back because there was a point where everybody was minged up. Nobody knew where somebody was from. You had to really make it a point. But now it's almost like people are hungry for like their regions now.
Yes. No, that's so true. That's a great way to put that. Yeah, that's a great way to put that. I love what Metro Boomin did on this project,
Yeah,
the Futuristic Summer, because that's
yeah,
Atlanta, right? And
yeah,
and that's how you do it, and I think that's what's getting back to just standing on who you are because we got so homogenized with everything,
yeah,
everything mixed cultures, internet. So we see other
yeah.
people's cultures. You want to do that and try that. That's cool. Experiment, but do you. Do what's
Yeah.
natural to you. And that's what's cutting through a lot more and sticking as well.
So, what are your thoughts on like in a global standpoint of music? Like how, first of all, people, I still can't understand why people don't understand Bad Bunny's from America, but whatever. But um, you know,
Right. That's crazy.
he's been treated like Puerto Rico's,
Part of the
America.
states. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but besides that, but like on a global standpoint, because there was a point where Afrobeats was like it still is. I mean, you have your core artists now. Like you always hear the person
Yeah.
like his kid,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And I was all engulfed in, at the time, and I still do listen to it, obviously. But I think there's a lot more artists getting a lot more attention that may not be well known. But I think people are hungry just for new music, or just like, a lot of people find playlists and they're just like, I know I do that. Like I'll click on another country and
Mm.
playlist. Like I have a Japanese R&B.
Oh,
I'm all in. I don't know
wow.
what they have, but it feels like 90s R&B. I
Mm.
don't know what they're saying. It doesn't matter to me right now. It's just the vibe and the energy. And so I think, I know from my standpoint, I like finding global artists, or like just people I don't know, but if the music's good, the music's good.
Right.
What are your
Right. Spot on. And to add on to that, what I find with the international artists is that they tend to take the musicality a bit more serious, and
Mhm.
they're writing better songs. They're
Yeah.
writing more stuff with meaning. Their music is a bit better. And I think Americans, like, is just to get the curse of being the coolest country, the coolest culture.
Yeah.
Like once we get I'm cool on that. And now
Yeah.
they're doing it and they're killing it. We're like, hey yo,
Right.
like,
No,
like,
for
let's not
real.
forget, Drake's not American. Justin Bieber is not American. These are, you
Canadian.
know, these are Canadians that we love, and they we love them because they are true students to the music. So I say that to tie it into, we got to get back to us here being ultimate students of the music, and
Yeah.
not just, doing it because we can and it's easy for us because it's our culture and we do it so well.
Yeah.
So I love international music. I have to tap into the Japanese R&B. I'm
Ooh,
more. I'm that's.
I'm telling you, I was
Mm.
like, this. I was scrolling one day, and this guy had this whole playlist, and I was like, let me just turn it on. It's something I could just turn on, and it's just good music and like, oh,
Yeah,
so good. I
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
recommend that. Definitely.
yeah, yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on AI? Because that's coming, and
Yeah, it's coming. It's here. It's nothing you can do about it.
yeah,
So I'm not one that's what's the word, like, I'm not ignorant of it. I'm not
yeah,
going to be naive, but that's where I'm not going to be
yeah,
naive about what's happening. So it's just about how to work with it and how to do it in an ethical way. Like, I'm not sure how I feel
mhm,
about it, like replicating voices, but I
mhm,
enjoy AI as, a tool to use for things, and
yeah,
to brainstorm with. I don't know about it being a full-on artist in that capacity, even though
yeah.
I think I can't control that either, but I don't
Right,
know
right.
about that.
I
But
definitely struggle with I went to a I told you I'm in Atlanta, so I go to like different events or whatever, just because I just keep myself entertained. But anyways, but I went to an event. It was about AI and music, and there was
okay.
a speaker there, and he was talking about like how they use AI to help with songwriting, and use
Okay.
AI and try to leverage that. And I just found it interesting because I almost felt like, because they did a demonstration, like they showed how they put the whole songs together, whatever. But what was interesting to me is because like I said, I on a normal basis, like I listen to most music outside of, like, I listen to a lot of 70s, 80s, 90s music. Like I my playlists
Hmm.
are top tier. And I when I heard it, I felt like there was some soul missing.
Mm,
And I
mm,
found that interesting. It was a good song, but maybe if I didn't know it was AI, would I feel that way? I don't know. But I know when I
fair.
listened to it, I was like, it feels hollow.
Mm,
And I
mm,
wonder if that will start being a factor of a lot of it feeling hollow and being good music, but just not having that grit, that
yeah,
underlying. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
to it.
And yes, I agree with you. And that was kind of my early thoughts on it when I heard some of the music some friends of mine made and let me hear it with AI. I'm like, okay, but it feels like it's missing this instrument or this could be in there. So maybe the producer has to use it as a tool and now add on to that,
Yeah,
to fill that hollowness. But yeah, I think that's what we're battling against is like, is this gonna feel even authentically human made? Is it gonna feel like it's missing something? Will we become subdued to that? And now that's what we accept as the new,
yeah,
and we forget what it feels supposed to feel like, you
yeah.
know? Um,
Yeah, because I think there. I mean, especially if I'm thinking about like if I'm just gonna go into an R&B lane, I feel
okay.
like there was some merit to artists singing and missing a note. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
it being off a little bit, but it's okay because it just went with the song, or just like that. You're feeling that grit of that. You know,
Right,
think
right.
about just you think about most R&B artists, especially '90s R&B. There was like a grit to it because it didn't matter if they're to them they know they messed up. To the public they don't, it don't, we don't care, we love the song.
Yeah, right. The
That
song.
that's kind of missing a little bit,
It
you know.
is, and technology is definitely from
Yeah,
pitch
because they're trying
correction,
to
like
make it
auto tune.
perfect, and it's like it doesn't have to be perfect.
That's
But
true. That
go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead. You're
I
right.
was like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but when you perform it live, now that you made it perfect on the song, when you perform it live, well, I'm
You want
expecting.
to come work for a label, Simone? I sounds like you could be a talent scout in A&R.
I mean, let's be honest. Like that's, I think that's where where the boys are separated from the men. A little bit.
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
mix that live, it's a little different conversation.
exactly. Don't get so lost in trying to perfect it in that studio, because once you got to get
Mhm.
on that stage, so everybody wants to be, wants to throw a mask on, don't want to show their face because they can't perform. Nobody wants- you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right.
it's real. That's a dilemma for sure, for sure. But
Uh,
what's happened is technology is in the live venue space to where the music directors have the auto tune and the tricks to make you sound perfect on
oh my
stage, dude.
gosh.
I
Yeah.
think
So
people know that, but yeah, like there's so many tricks and secrets going on. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is absolutely insane. So like, obviously, my podcast is called My Why Podcast, which
Okay.
is So like, what is your why, and why do you continue just to keep going and not giving up?
Yeah, and I love that you call it that because again, this goes into the earlier question about how do you continue to execute on things that you're doing. You have to have your why, and whether that's my why is to prove myself, family. For me, my why was always recognizing that I was a first generation. Like
Mhm.
though I'm born and raised in the States, my parents are, we're the first of our last names to be here. There's no other Bensons. I don't got none. It's just
Yeah,
us. So I recognize from 14, 15 as a junior and senior, like I have to, whatever I do, if it's basketball, if I do music, I have to go and make a name. And that is still the driving force of uh, succeeding so we can plant our feet in this American soil, man. We need a slice, man. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, so we can't not execute. I can't not make the excuse of not getting something done or seeing it through. Of course, I'm human, but that push through has to be there because um it, I have nothing else to rely on. So that
yeah,
my culture, my heritage, where I come from, my background, that is my big why. Doing it for my family name, doing it for my family back in Nigeria, that I've some that I never even met, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
just realizing my own family story, like, damn, you mean we left a place to come here and left everybody behind? Like, there's no excuse to just
yeah,
slack off and not do something substantial, So,
yeah,
and having good friends, support, like growing up in our church the way we did, and just that community,
yeah,
it makes you believe you can do, and you know what I'm saying? So that's my why. My people, my friends, my community, my culture. I want to do it for them to make y'all proud, make myself proud, and so that we can really, have a piece of this thing.
yeah. And I will say I'm very proud of you. Always been very proud of y'all. You already know. So
Thank
we
you. I
always,
know. I know.
it's just we was the chosen few, but uh,
I'm the chosen few, but I
we was
know. I
the chosen
know.
few.
You
We was the
stupid.
chosen few. Yeah. And also, I knew that your parents ain't play either, so like you was
That
vouching
helps
for
too. Sure. Yeah.
it didn't play, it didn't play
Yeah.
mine either. So
Exactly. That helps. Shout out to
so
Mr. Benson, Big Daryl.
oh, crazy. The older he gets, the crazier he's getting. It's funny. But so, all right. So we're gonna go into the next segment. This is a game called Questions That Need Answers. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're gonna pick a category and then you pick a number between 1 to 5. So I'm gonna go through the
Okay.
categories.
Okay.
So it's creativity and process, ideas and imagination, philosophical and reflective, or playful and unexpected.
Hmm. Those are the categories.
Yeah. So which one would you?
Ooh. Philosophical reflective. Let's start there.
Okay. Pick a number between 1 through 5.
3.
All right. What emotion fuels your best work?
What emotion fuels my best work? Ooh. I think when others are doubting me, or I'm feeling like people are making me feel as though I cannot achieve the thing at hand. For
Mm.
example, with the fragrance thing, the feeling of reaching out to that perfumer who lived in my building, who I see every day. I'm like, hey, I see you. And it's like, I don't know you. Get away from me. I'm like,
Crazy
dang,
work.
I
That's
know what call
crazy
you.
work.
So I was all right, I'm not gonna can't force it. And
Yeah, yeah,
that made me feel like, dang, maybe you don't believe that I could do this. Now I'm about to show you.
yeah. Right.
So I think that feeling of doubt of from outside makes, and also heartbreak is where I also going through
Mhm.
some type of heartbreak and loss, makes me create
Yeah.
my best work. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going off script for a second because there's a question I'm gonna ask you because I think this is very interesting to ask you. You're the season finale, so you get
Oh
you
snap!
season
Let's get
finale.
it. Yeah.
Oh, what's something you've created that no one else will ever see?
Ah, something.
Yeah.
Huh. No one else will ever see. Dang. I mean, as an artist, as a musician, I mean, there's tons of music that we make that never gets the light of day. So that's my first thought. And I'm thinking about other things like, hmm, does the music count? Some music?
Music
Does that kind of
counts.
count?
Yeah, that
Okay,
counts.
some music. Okay. Um, hmm. That's such a good question. I've never been asked that, but that's so profound to think about. Let me see.
Like maybe you had another business idea that you were just like, oh yeah, this, and then you're just like, well, not really.
Okay,
Or
okay.
just like just like a hidden talent. You're like, nobody's ever gonna know about this one. So
Cooking.
about what?
Before cooking.
Cooking. Oh,
Cooking. Yeah, maybe I don't know if you even knew that.
oh no.
I
Hey,
wanted to be a chef.
off.
All right, now I owe you another jollof. I'm gonna make it this time. Hopefully I can, make do good as mom's. But I wanted to be a chef. I
Oh
wanted to be
wow.
that was something that never got to see the light of day. And having tough parents again.
Yeah.
We did not come to this country for you to be a cook. That's how they saw it. I'm like, dang. Fast forward to today. Look at Gordon Ramsay. Look at him. I could have been like him. So
Right.
that was something that like got squashed early, but
Interesting.
I always kept that passion, and I cook. I'm a great cook at home. I'm always
Yeah.
learning recipes. I love to bake, and so some people would
Yeah.
never know about me. Like, I love to cook. So even for like, my girlfriend or family, whoever, I'm
Yeah.
always that's my love language, making a meal. Thanksgiving, I'm the one doing the turkey now. I
Oh,
gotta
nice.
yeah, yeah. Crazy
Nice.
brine and herb
Right.
butter. Yeah, man, I'm going crazy.
And I think in some way that it's like it's interesting that of that and then doing perfume because you still have to have some sense of you're still using that sense and then like
Mm,
there was a recipe of
never
what
thought about that.
yeah like that's
That's
actually very
real.
interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I never tied it. Good, that's a good one. I see you, journalist.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking too deep into plenty of it. But all right, so we have fun. So my last segment is called "Be Encouraged." Every guest, everybody who watches the show, every guest, I this is the segment that you just poured into all everybody listening. You poured it into me, and this is something that I do for each guest, so that it kind of gives them some fuel to continue doing what you need to do. And
Mm,
episode, I always pray and ask, like, what is something that that you should maybe know in this as you're going keep going in your endeavors and everything that you're doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, and I always write it exactly how I get it. So I don't make it up on top of my head. So
Okay. Okay.
I
This
always,
is powerful.
yeah, I have it written down and I read it exactly how I get it. So,
Okay. Okay.
um, you're really great at execution, but don't be afraid to pivot. Pivots are not always major gestures. Sometimes they're small decisions that set off a domino effect that lead to an even bigger success than you realized in business or anything you do. Always remember to embrace the pivot because those are just nudges from God to move you into your aligned direction.
Mm.
So I don't know if that mattered, but I just hope that that was something.
That's yeah, I still want to give it to some people because I mean we'll talk more about it, but
Yeah,
this is a lot, but that speaks to everything I'm going through right now, and I'm transitioning from certain things.
yeah,
I was afraid to pivot. This fragrance thing obviously was a pivot. That's obvious, but there's other nuance within that I also had to pivot. So I really hear God's voice in that message, and thank you because I needed to hear that. It's scary to pivot, man. Honestly, that's the truth. Like,
yeah.
sounds good. Thank you for the word, but man, it's scary, man.
Yeah, but you
You
so
know,
that's why I said that's why at the end it says like you just remember that's just a nudge to kind of just
exactly.
put you in
Killed
that
that. Yeah.
alignment. It's not so much, and like I said, it doesn't like it says it doesn't need to be these big major gestures. Sometimes it's just small decisions that set off dominoes that lead to bigger success. Rather it in business or anything that you do, it doesn't have to be one particular thing, but
Right. Right.
just accepting that pivots are just nudges from God.
Woo! Bars, pivots are
So
nudges from God.
yeah,
Wow. It's just a nudge.
yes,
And it's not a, you got to switch your whole thing. Just,
no,
yeah,
just
just a little, just,
yes.
yeah, just a little redirect.
Yes, it's yep, that's the best way to think
I
about it.
love that. Thank you. And
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
powerful. I needed that.
yeah. So yeah, that was for you. And I'm just, happy, like I said, overall we were able to talk today
Me
and
too.
it's somebody whoever was able to listen to this, whoever's listening to this podcast, they got something and they will be able to, just be encouraged and be okay. It's okay to execute. That I think that's a
Yes.
big theme is to make sure you execute. You can have dreams and visions, but and also we talk about right now being okay with pivoting too, because sometimes
Yeah.
you live 5 different lives in one.
That's
So,
so true. Yeah, that's the big lesson from this. Yeah. And I hope the
yeah.
listeners really take that and, study the people that you look up to. They pivoted a bunch of times. You
Mhm.
know, that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
A little nudge from God.
Yeah, it's just a nudge for God. So thank you everybody for listening today, and I just appreciate you coming on the show, being our season finale, which is gonna be it's just
It's an
amazing.
honor. It's an honor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Seriously. What?
So all right, y'all like, subscribe, do all that good stuff.